Case file, the Dustwalkers. Observer, 15989666920. Location, the ruins. Subject, Target Bravo, Trixie. Target Charlie, Stellar. Day 2, post-contact, the Forge. The brawl with the Forge Master was a mess of spectral limbs and hammered steel. In the chaos, the group fractured. I watched from the grating as the girl, Helen, the one with the wings and the bleeding heart, was snatched, dragged into the pitch black by things I couldn't identify. She screamed once, and then the dark swallowed her. The party didn't have time to mourn. They had fresh blood stepping in to fill the gap almost immediately. Mercenaries? Drifters? Doesn't matter. Bodies are replaceable down here. The dust settled, but the light didn't die. The forge roared to life, not with fire, but with ghost flame. A sickly, pale blue luminescence that made everyone look like a corpse. It was cold heat, unnatural. Then, the vultures arrived. A second group stumbled onto the scene, a scholar, a cleric, and 2 hired swords. Clean gear, soft hands. They looked like they expected a guided tour. They saw the pile of dissipated spirits and realized the heavy lifting was already done. The scholar's eyes went wide at the sight of the ghost flame. He wanted to study it. He wanted to put it in a jar and write a thesis. Trixie, the demolitionist, stepped in. She didn't drive them off. She made a deal. She let them stay, let them ogle the accursed fire on one condition. They had to hang a sign. Trixie's Forge. Vanity in a crypt. It takes a special kind of ego to brand a murder scene. I took 5 to check my gear while they rested. They looked sharper now, harder. The fight had seasoned them. They were getting stronger, evolving. That's usually when people get careless. Day 2, the corridor of filth. They moved out, leaving the scholars to their ghosts. The deeper we went, the worse the smell got. The architecture was failing. At one point, Stellar, one of the heavies, passed under a fractured pipe or a roost of dungeon vermin. A slurry of filth, centuries-old rot and excrement, collapsed on top of him. He stood there, dripping, smelling like a plague pit. It was funny in a grim way. The dungeon doesn't just want to kill you, it wants to humiliate you first. It strips away the glory of the adventure until you're just a man covered in shit holding a sword. Day 2, the Relic Room. They found a chamber guarded by 2 spectral knights. Floating armor, bound by duty. Behind them sat a relic, humming with power. I watched the party attempt stealth. It was painful. Clanking armor, heavy breathing, boots scuffing stone. They sounded like a rock slide. When they realized the gig was up, they didn't parley. They didn't duel. They threw their swords across the room. It was chaotic, desperate, and confusing. The knights didn't attack immediately. They tried to speak. Their voices were hollow, echoing with a curse that made their words vague, tragic riddles. They were trying to explain the bind, that they were tied to the relic, that they couldn't leave. The party didn't care. They interpreted the tragedy as an invitation to loot. They grabbed the relic and bolted for the threshold. The moment the relic crossed the line, the knights screamed. Their forms dissolved, sucked violently into the object like smoke into a vacuum. Trapped for eternity in a trinket. Day 2, the corruption. Stellar, perhaps angry about the filth or just frustrated by the enigma, decided to punch the relic. Bad move. The object flared. I saw the black veins shoot up his arm instantly. Corruption. It's a rot of the soul, and now he's carrying it. He staggered, the cost of his temper etched into his skin. Then Trixie. I've seen men do desperate things in the dark. I've seen them eat rats. I've seen them drink blood. But Trixie picked up the cursed soul prison relic and licked it. Maybe she wanted to taste the magic. Maybe she's insane. The magic warped her, cosmetic shifts rippling over her features. I marked the log. Target Bravo is unstable and a biohazard risk. Day 2. The Soul Eater. They deemed the relic useless, a dangerous paperweight. They hauled it back to the forge, where the scholars were still scribbling notes. They threw the relic into the ghost flame. The fire roared, the metal screamed. The relic shattered, and the 2 knightly souls were ejected, freed from their prison. A moment of redemption? No. Trixie opened her mouth. She didn't pray for them. She didn't release them. She inhaled. She sucked the soul of one of the knights right out of the air. I saw the spirit struggle, then vanish into her. She looked energized. She's not just a demolitionist. She's a soul eater. They gathered the scraps of the melted relic and reforged it, hoping to harness the power without the curse. They hammered and cooled it in the pale fire, but the magic was gone. The result was a lump of plain metal. They stood there, disappointed,